I'm still expecting Devin. But for the first part, well, Martina, would you be willing to kind of take minutes to fill in until Devin gets here? Sure.
Is that
Right, they're trying to stay there. It's on the screen. So if you sit over there, you can sit here, but if you sit over there, you have to be on. Oh, the camera kind of goes over now on that end. What here? Up to you. You can sit right here.
Do you have a copy of the agenda and minutes?
Yep.
Yeah, right over here. Morning, David. Can you hear us?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Marketing stuff for the thing that looks like anything.
She's on PTO. Try that one if not, we're gonna get them from the gray box.
Let's see. Can Devin call you to find out she's having trouble with the incorrect passcode? She took it off of the agenda.
That, if she could go through Kathy, I don't have a phone here, but Kathy's should
Kathy's
be
on.
so have her call Kathy Carmelo. It's 42847 429 And she should be able to decide.
429-3315. Okay, so if you call Kathy at 429-3315. We see your thing on the screen. Okay, welcome.
Hey, morning.
Hey, she's here.
Kathy a lot of times. That's.
Okay, you're on.
Thank you, whoever gave me the thing.
Okay.
Morning, Devin.
Do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the August 18th meeting?
So moved. Second.
Okay. Discussion? All those in favor say aye. You got a thumbs up, David? Okay. Motion carries. I have no correspondence directed specifically to the committee. And so we're, wow, I came around fast, we're up. Finally.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to formally announce to everyone here that at tonight's meeting, not only are you on the agenda, but the facility study is also on and be presented for the first time formally to the town council tonight. So, you know, I'm not sure, I'm sure there will be a lot of lively discussion around that. So your time is probably pretty good to present. So,
Now, on that report, is it still phase one? So sort of in generality, or they have,
so they're actually going to present something a little more concrete, possibly with numbers. I'm not sure exactly what they're going to present, but with some costs and some information around phasing. It's the step before you would go into actually your formalized design plans.
no,
So,
in the one we worked with, there were 3 potential senior center sites.
right.
Are they still there or have they narrowed
I
it down?
think they'll still discuss those tonight because they're going to be talking about options. So of the whole report, but certainly the senior center is, it was one of the prioritized buildings in the study. I'm sure they'll be dealing with that in that thing. There will be time again. This is just the first formal presentation. There will be time once that happens to give your input as well. What I would be something that you could have a discussion and then put some input, whether you say you support it, as it's, or we like this, or, I think in your report is great. You talked about how the commission on aging needs to have continued input, and the whole community really needs to have continued input into that design. But I did want to let you know, so if you're going home after your presentation, you can always go back and watch, pop some popcorn and the architectural firm is going to be there for the presentation. Just wanted to let you know. Well, I think it's before you, because you guys are new business, but I think they'll probably talk to you before that.
We're officially the first item under new business.
Right, but they might even push it. A lot of times they vote to bring, if they have people there, they vote to bring that earlier, they change the agenda, so. People who are in the audience. So, but otherwise, no, you'd be active, because they're old business. So, and you're new business.
That could be quite a win.
They could, but usually what ends up happening, well, is they, if a community group is there, they usually put them ahead. So, I mean, I can't guarantee that that's usually what happens. You can ask, you can actually, Don, I mean, I can ask for you, but you can even put a note into the town manager and say, if you could put us, early on the agenda, that would be good, if you can suggest. Or even to the mayor, you can say, that quite a new agenda, we go early. You can do that too. So it's up to you. So yes, that's on the agenda.
Thank you for putting it on that.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I knew that you had asked, and I think when we talked about the agenda, I think the town manager felt this week was the better of the two, and this week was the better of the two for the group here, I believe too. So I think that's good. It's time, like I said. So the other thing I want to again report to you is our staffing situation continues to be a real challenge across the department. We're short 2 social workers in services now. Sarah's short her nutrition coordinator, as well as we still haven't filled the food service assistant, the driver position that we got through ARPA. And we're doing a social worker over that. So down 6 out of 15 positions in the department, just so you know. So we're doing the best that we can, and we'll continue. And another thing that I should let you know is that we lost a person in HR who relocated out west, and our HR director has formally resigned, and she's going to be gone in a month. So during this final part of my career, I'm going to do whatever I can to get those vacancies filled as quickly as possible. Right now, I'm doing an awful lot of Kathy Ann's job. It's taking a lot of my time. And I'm working with the team to stay on target for things like our holiday programs. And Mel has been doing our renter's rebate, the final part of our renter's rebate. She's done a fantastic job stepping right into that. The other social workers, and we had them before school started at Mid-Service that has also been helping out quite extensively, and everybody's kind of, doing what they can. We're not the only department in the town that is short staffed. It's pretty much throughout the town right now. If you're listening to what's going on in the community, are you on Zoom? Yes. Yes, take an agenda. Here you go, take mine. So So it's kind of, we've been losing people faster than we've been getting in the towns, which has bumped our recruitments substantially, is what's been happening. They've tried to replace employees that were already in positions. That's part of why those two other positions didn't get filled, but it's becoming increasingly challenging. If we had that food service position, we would have had somebody there after Sharon left. So, and again, Sarah can kind of talk a little bit more about that. So,
Is Devin on?
yes.
Oh,
Yep, Devin's on. She's just not on the camera.
I'm here. I'm just not on the camera, but I'm here.
So that's where we are as far as our staff situation is concerned. From a budget situation, we're in a very healthy position. I think I said before, the town council was generous in giving us additional funds this year. We really appreciate. We also, again, hope to be able to spend some of the ARPA funds that were allotted to us once we get our staff on board. As we were actually supposed to be expanding our nutrition programs, and we contracted our nutrition programs. Somebody stopped me the other day at some in Blondin's and asked me when we were start serving stones again. So, but more than that, when are we going to start, our cafe program back up, and with our staffing situation, we can't, which is unfortunate.
Now, how about your vacancy? Is there any proactive start?
I did take a look at the job description that they had, and have marked it up, and have had several discussions with the town manager regarding that, and have suggested that they start that now. This is the time of year, so I'm hoping that goes out. One of the things, because Holly was our first formalized HR director, one of the things that means is that there's nothing codified that the HR director has to do different things. So that will allow some of the rest of us to step in and do parts that, if that had happened, we wouldn't be able to do, because in the past it was an assistant town manager who did that function. So that's good, because otherwise we would have to wait, and HR positions are very hard to fill, especially directors positions are really hard right now, and across the board are tough. A lot of people retiring, a lot of people have lots of opportunities to move into different things. So that's when we reach out. So I would hope they're going to reach out nationally, but I very much hope we can recruit someone in the state, because Connecticut is different. These systems are very different than other states. We don't have a county system. We don't have, it's town to town. So it's just a different, and it would be great to have someone that came in that had municipal experience, at least, that understands how governments work. And because that's a very different type of administration. Just let me say that. So I'm hoping, it's a good job, and I'm hoping we can get some great candidates, but they're going to look nationally, I'm sure. They should. So and we can advertise it through our professional organizations too, which are all talented. That's staffing, facilities. I'm not sure we have anything big going on from the facilities point of view. We do have some projects out there, but they're probably out there in the next couple of years, including windows replacements and as well. I mean, some of it again has to what happens with the facilities study. I don't think they're going to make any major investments here until they make some decisions about what the time frame is going to be. And that's it, unless any of you have any questions for me. Budget, especially with all the staff transition, we're doing more than fine.
Okay, Sarah.
All right, so yes, Pat led into that well. We are doing the best we can with Plan B. And that is what it will be for the next several months, right? Whenever we're kind of down, our focus has to switch to essential services. We never just do that. But we did sort of look at the month of September as a whole. And between Jordan and I figured out the best way that we think to cover the nutrition program as it stands now. You may or may not know, Meals on Wheels is 5 days a week. We felt very strongly we needed to continue that consistently. So Jordan and I have split those days. We will cover that 5 days a week with the help of all of our wonderful drivers who just are on autopilot and such a help to us because they were trained well by Sharon and they know what they do. So Will is one of them. Thank you very much. In terms of the cafe lunches, we have seen a significant decrease in that since COVID. It has not quite bounced back. There are days, I will tell you, on Friday, we had a birthday lunch. We had 20 people come in for lunch. We had 4 tables full. It felt like a normal old time day. It was great. What we have seen is that Mondays and Thursdays are our quietest days. We've been averaging 3 to 5 people, and usually 2 of those are 2 that come help in the kitchen. So we made the really difficult decision to cancel those 2 days cafe, the TVCCA congregate meal those 2 days. We're going to evaluate this on a month-to-month basis based on a number of things, whether or not TVCCA can come in and help cover the site. Whether or not the recruitments have been posted, how long it looks like this is going to go on. We are very mindful. There are several months a year that are our biggest and our heaviest in terms of programming and the important big events that we do, and we do really well. September is one of them. November is the next, and December and April are the next 2. So we're heading into our busiest time. We're going to take it as it comes, again, prioritize essential services and the things that we think are going to meet the needs of the greatest amount of people. Okay, if you have any questions about any of that as we go through it, we'll be announcing those updates throughout, as this goes on in the slides. That said, we have an awesome amount of stuff lined up for September, and I really want to give kudos to my team. September is National Senior Center Month. We took it a little bit further this year. We want to have the theme be age creatively. We have so many people that are so creative here in what they do and how they volunteer and what they add to the community and what they create. All different kinds of things. So we are celebrating that all month long. If you haven't seen the newsletter, I did bring some. There's a ton of stuff. Today is Crazy Hat Day. We are doing a spirit week, just like we all remember back in high school. We've got a theme every day. We're encouraging everybody to participate. If you do, you get a ticket and a chance to enter into a raffle for a prize at the end of the week. We will announce that at our Fancy Fresh Friday on Friday. So take a look at that. We are also relaunching the Aging Mastery Program. Anybody here participate in that with Joan Marshall when we did it? You did. It was great. One of the awesome things we're able to do is offer this free of charge because of the ARPA funding. This is one of those programs that we want to focus on senior wellness, senior mental health, aging well. So we're offering it free of charge. We have 15 slots. I believe there are some that are open, but space is limited. We're going to provide a light supper, and it'll be a 10-week series that really talks about all the different components that go into aging well. It encourages participants to share, and we also have a guest speaker that talks about a different topic every time. If anybody's interested, see Jamel, she is heading that up. But again, thank you to the town for supplying this funding so that we can offer these really neat, very well-respected kind of programs free of charge for folks. Got a lot of great trips lined up. So we are back in business with the 2 vans. I'm not sure how many people are aware. We did have both catalytic converters stolen in August. We were told it could be months for the new van. So I will tell you, on Friday, I drove home panicking because we sold 13 tickets to the Van Gogh trip this week. And we had a 10-person van up until Friday. What we found out, Public Works got the part. I believe they are replacing it. We think the new van may be back in service today. So thank you to Cut Public Works. We should be back up and running with both vans. That helps with medical transportation. Again, Martina, you're one of them. Kudos to our volunteers who have really stepped up over these past few weeks while Dave's been focused on trips and accessible rides to help us make sure that we were not missing medical rides during this time. So thank you, and Sylvie. Sorry.
I also wanted to say something else. There's another building, part of that they're looking at putting out cameras outside the building as well. That will help with that. And one of them they caged in, or they gonna be able to cage.
So what their plan was, yes, is that there's not an easy fix, especially in our parking lot, right? On the old van, when they were able to replace that right away, they close catalytic converter and cage. It doesn't mean you can't, but it means it's a lot harder and there's a lot more chance somebody's gonna see you because it takes more time. They're gonna do that with both. We also have been parking it on the side of the building. I'm sure you've seen it. On busy days, we move it, but it just seems smarter at this point for us to kind of keep it there in the meantime. Okay. One other building thing, yes, we're probably not making a lot of big changes. We're probably not doing a lot of things. One of the things I felt strongly about was trying to improve the air quality as much as possible going into flu season with the lingering COVID. With everything going on. So we were able to purchase an air purifier for every single group workroom. We got one during COVID and we used it when we were meeting with people. Again, through ARPA funding designated for this, I felt real strongly. So we put one of those in every single group room. They're great. They purify the air. They have a filter that lasts about a year. You can put them on a timer. So I come in the morning, I pop them all on for 8 hours and they go off on their own at night. So again, that was great. We've also been kind of going through and just looking at supplies, things like that we need. I did, for anybody who volunteers in the kitchen, I kind of tore through the kitchen the last couple of weeks. I got rid of stuff we didn't need. We're trying to look at how to make things as efficient as possible as we're going into what could be an opportunity. You know, once we get those 2 positions filled, we're really excited to revamp our nutrition program. And we're ready, right? It's not going to take too long once we get those 2 people hired and trained to get those lunches back on and we open that cafe. That is the goal.
And again, I think one of the things we also put some funds in for ARPA is for us to do more home cooked meals. So more options of that. So since we have seen people are much less interested in the TVCCA cafe. So that's also part of the ARPA fund request that we do.
2 final things. I did want to share, Jordan and I went and participated in the Generations Health Fair in August. Did anybody hear about it? It was great. That team, we participate in the Austin Foundation Committee that really focuses on making sure that folks are aware of healthcare access, Medicare, ins and outs, support, technology assistance, that kind of thing. They do a great job around the state. We really like being part of that group. That group spearheaded doing this health fair. It turned into being this really well attended, very well sponsored day. I think it's something we'll probably participate in down the road. So it was just a really neat thing. I think in the future, we were not able to host a trip, but that would be a benefit, is that next year, if we were participating, we could also do a trip down there. So keep your eye on the Generations stuff. They just do a real good job with community education and kind of getting the word out there about what's available for folks. It was August 10th over in the Generations parking lot in Wyndham. And they had a number of vendors that were all just focused on senior services, senior healthcare. Senator Murphy signed on, Congressman Courtney signed on and actually showed up, which was a fun surprise. I didn't get him to play my fish game, which was a big hit. But that I was trying to catch his eye, but you know, he's got to do. So then my final thing was just the senior center trips. I imagine this is going to be one of your questions. We're going to have to revisit this when we can. It's not that I couldn't schedule this for you guys to go on your own with Dave around his trips now that we've got both bands back up and running. I do not anticipate this is something I'm going to be able to do over the next month or 2. Very easy.
Well, until we decide or
So,
evaluate spaces and stuff, I think it's.
and maybe following tonight's meeting, you will have a plan and you can email me and say, hey, why don't we look at this, and this? So we can just keep communicating about that. But I didn't want you to think it has not been forgotten. I just got to handle
You know,
And what I will,
Fantastic.
what I will do these right now. Well, what I will say is, you know, in the conversations at this level, because you're not interested in any kind of design detail, if they would be talking about it between the 20 and 25,000 square foot. So, which is pretty decent size.
So
I think
what's
it's
the
about
square
8,000.
footage of this one?
It's about 8,000 square feet. But again, it's office space and it's, you know, it's not laid out well, so it even need 8,000 to capacity use, I would say. But, yeah, so it's, you know, when, you know, we talk and they walk through the building, that's roughly what, you know, what came up with. And that would be all human services and human services offices would be it as well. But,
So what kind of a figure is senior center part?
the majority of the senior center, right now, I mean, our offices, human services offices are here already. Youth services offices would add four additional offices basically. So you're not talking about, you know, and they already use like in the evenings and stuff, some of our space here in services do for some of their programs.
We haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, we haven't seen, and again, it's not, it's going to be just a roughed out thing, it's not going to be, it's gonna be, this is the building that will fit on the, you know, on these three or these three options, or that's what they'll talk about tonight. But, you know, in us talking to the architect, we were thinking 20 to 25,000. And if you've been to Glastonbury, that's about the size of that building. Just so you know, it's between 22 and 25,000 square feet.
I don't particularly like the idea of you serving you guys over here, it's fine, but I would like the idea. You take a space away from the senior center, like
It's a smaller, it will be a smaller, it'll be, when I say offices, you know what I'm talking about. It would be like Sarah's, I mean, you're not talking about 7 offices, like 7 office suites, you're talking about, and a good portion of their work is done in schools. They provide school social work, so it's not like they have kids running in and out of their offices, if that's what you're
people,
doing.
any office that goes in is taking space away from seniors.
Right, but they, what I'm saying is they're accounting for that when they, you know, so for example, if that wasn't in there, we might get a 20,000. See what I'm saying? They've accommodated for that in the design. So, I mean, I see.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah,
What Ryan and the architect asked, they came over and met with the two of us and asked us, in terms of needs for programming, what would you need? I did not hold back. Will.
right.
So what we talked about was a room like this that could accommodate 100 for me. So all of that I'm expecting should be in there. We were really focused on making sure each room was like multifunctional. That we could divide this when we needed to use it for different things.
But nothing will be like that will be in the presentation, correct? And that's what they use to roughly decide on how much square foot. And that about 25,000 square foot was knowing that youth services offices would be in there as well. And there is a lot of synergy that can happen with that. And that's not that uncommon in South Windsor has like, there's a lot of places that have youth services.
I'm not saying that that's
So-
wrong, and I'm just saying.
Right.
All I'm
I
saying
get
is
what you're
for
saying.
my
I
big
think
space
for
away from
the
seniors.
department itself would be so much nicer than to having staff run all over the place that serve the different groups, including me, including Kathy, including Leslie, you know what I mean? There's a lot of us that serve in the department, social services, senior services, and youth services. It's really a real advantage to having your for individuals and families and, you know, all kinds of things. And it also is another group to help build support when you're going their building. You see what I'm saying? To get, you know, people, the youth families and youth and a building project is helpful as well. So,
Right. They can see adequate groups.
yeah, and again, you're only gonna see like a blob on a map, I'm gonna be honest with you. That's
Well,
what
no,
you're
I
gonna
mean,
see.
later on
So-
down the line.
I can see whatever, I can say that whatever format, if the programming and facilities, you know, parking, you know, is accommodated for, people don't come to it. They're gonna come because of what you offer. You know, not because you have a building with all the bells and whistles necessarily, because you can have that and nobody comes. I mean, and I've certainly seen that in places where it's a beautiful building, and nobody goes to it. You know, but if you have that combination, and like Sarah says, it's all about flexibility of space. So that, you know, when needs change, like, you know, the computer lab here, you can have home computers. But, you know, having a space to move into something else as needs change or is really what you want. So, and it would be great to have a building that had the right technology set up for today and beyond, and had, you know, it's fully accessible, and, you know, fully secure. Secure has become a lot, you know, a bigger of an issue over the years as well. So, you know, security is tough in this building. There's a lot of doors, not built in. So, you know, there's a number of things that we really building now. We think of so. So, we have something, like I said. Yep. And again, building all out community support is probably the most important thing that. Right. And I can tell you, you can do things with scheduling, you can do things with all kinds of things, you can do things with separate entrances in the same building. That also provides some of what you might as well. I can remember when I was in Glasgow, they would say to me, we want the kids skateboarding in, you know what I mean? And you know, it didn't happen because we schedule things in a way and people enter from a particular doorway or whatever. To not only offer privacy, you know, clients, but and not being identified, oh, that's someone who's looking for social workers, right? But also, so there's a good way for different generations to engage, but when they wanted to, but not have to. They weren't, you know, we didn't have seniors worried about kids running down the halls, you know, and knocking them over. And those are realistic, you know, concerns. That's always scheduling and entrances and all that kind of stuff. Which you would do with it. So it's all doable.
I guess one of my biggest reservations about the town hall was is parking.
Right.
I went to the town hall in Maine and I wound up parking in the parliament.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not disabled or
Right, and that's something that you would need to be addressed. I mean, it's also, there's a number of parking issues. You can't, starts up as well as when, you know, Smith starts up, right, and the parking is limited. It definitely changes at the town hall, would you say? So they'll have to do some other things around parking to make absolutely have to have a lot. It's not only for people who come already, people see, you know, 100, 200, 300% increase in attendance, you know, for new building. It's just what happens. So, you know, we have the ability to expand the programming. So they definitely would. The advantage of that site is that it's in the bus. Very few other sites. But other than that, like I said, that we would have to. And they know that as well. That's not more than us. And that, you know, it is a draw, actually, and it's a draw for lots of reasons. Right. There's more land there than we think. We'll go back to the rock. They lasted all through that, you know. Yeah, there's an expense to that as well. So. But they're going to talk about more than one side. That I can say.
I think one of my concerns is the programming issue. You know, you said, you know, because your office is here with this catch and tap dancing, there's noise. So I would not want us to have to compromise programming because there's human services office in there and there's youth services office in there. There's all these offices in there until our programming gets compromised.
Right. And
I
we
did
talk
emphasize
about
that.
Yeah.
I did emphasize that. Right, that's it. We're gonna have parties on Thursday or Friday afternoons.
And
It's gonna be loud.
I'm going to tell you,
It has to be okay.
I mean,
it's less of an issue with human service being part of it.
Yeah.
Because, I could go, I hear, you hear the music going, oh, they're getting ready for the holidays, and it's less a thing with our staff. With that, it would be more of a thing, maybe then that community center where the weight room above the community room, so when you're in there for anything, you hear the weights, free weights stopping. So, and then we mentioned those things, I mean, very much that, sound and soundproof things. And that's what I said to them, storage, sound, light, are, and they never make enough office space. Those are some of the big mistakes.
That is what we heard in the start.
And also, nowhere to expand, like here, nowhere to expand. So those are the things that are the biggest mistakes that I've seen. And sound, that's why, they put, some of those high ceilings and hard surfaces, the sound just bounces all over the place. And again, this is the worst type of lighting, indirect, you should have multiple options, indirect, and take the most of, your ability to snap or something. So there's lots of things in design, when you get into the and if you work with the right architect, and you've got staff that are passionate about it, and they're gonna push, whatever you want, you just have to, never look at a furniture catalog and saying, I don't like any of this except for this, and I don't need it. And the person who designed was pretty upset with me, but like I knew, what would work, it was nice, but it wasn't practical. Chairs that had, you could stuff out or something. I mean, like that kind of stuff that you can do in certain spaces, but you can't do it if you're probably building certain things. So there were things like that, you have to depend on your staff. So, and yes. Now, as you go out and see practice, you're going to become more and more educated on those issues. So, but anyway, so like I said, all you're gonna see tonight probably is this is the size, and these are the different options of where you put it, and put it in face and yes, and that, and it's really in all of the buildings. But some definitely identified. Absolutely. Absolutely. And they did listen to us.
I think that's the mistake. So having to look at a much longer presentation.
Up to you.
We may have something to add.
You're right. I think it'd be great for all of us just to stay through this presentation, so they're looking at us while this presentation's going on. And we're here, guys,
Right. And sometimes they do call you up. What time is this meeting? Starts at 7 o'clock.
Can I go on my laptop?
Yes.
And Zoom in?
Yes. You can be, okay, so if you want to be there as part of the commission, you can zoom in and you'd be able to talk.
Can you send me the information?
So I can send you that link. As far as a public, that's only as the committee, okay? That's not open to the general public. They have to go through Tasha and they're doing public comment. Okay. So I can send that part of the agenda out to you.
Yeah, I like
Keep in mind, if you sign on, you need to put what your name is and then commission, COA or whatever. Yeah, and then she will let you on, but keep your camera turned off until the commission is ready. Okay. Yep. So anybody can do that. I will send that link out to you all. Hopefully. Catherine, can you remind me to do that? So yeah, so you can attend either live or, but that will be during the building time. That's a separate presentation.
So I only can come on when we're on?
Yes, as
Okay.
part of that. I mean, you can stay on, you just can't.
Just a-
Oh, I can count it until we're on.
Right,
Okay, got it. Yeah.
so,
Okay.
that's, just so you know, that's how that works. So, you're on, and put, if you're going to be on as part of that, put COA after your name. Okay?
Now, if she wants to speak like about transportation, does she have to sign it? Well, I know you have to sign it.
Well, so if you want to speak ahead of time during public comment, or you want to speak during the presentation, you can speak, you go, you turn on your camera during that time, and you can speak, but one of you will have to recognize her and say, I'm doing, well, you're doing transportation, right? So you would recognize her and say, she has something to say, she's a user of the service, she's very aware of the challenges, you know? And that's during your time, so,
How much time are we allowed, like,
oh, they're gonna allow you whatever time you
Whatever
want to
whatever
take.
time we need.
okay,
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 so,
But sometimes they do say hold your comments too, because there's some.
well, the one
both
with
people.
yeah,
Yeah.
I want the presentation happen first, but you could be part of the presentation. So, and really only they usually are talking to the council, but they're usually the audience to really participate, that they you can respond and writing for the next session. I think, so.
Now, what about Will, Martina, and myself?
You go up to the
Sign
table.
in anywhere?
You know, when they do it, you go up to the table. Okay, and Ryan will call you up to the table. So, and what if he doesn't, I will, that's all. So
We'll make it.
it'll happen. I'll be glad to hear from you.
With regard to leaving after our part of it, I think that it's important to send a message. I think we should all sit together as a block.
Yeah.
So that we are visible as a group, sending the message that we're here and we're staying and we're watching what we do.
Right, and you're represented, see, what you're really supposed to be is an advisor to the council, you're supposed to, that's your job, is to be giving them your input, and you're considered the experts in that. See what I'm saying? So.
And I think getting up and walking out sends a negative message.
It does. It does.
You need to be there.
Very much.
Right, well, just so you know, you're only really have to be there for this. Just so you know.
Right.
It can be long,
I mean,
a long night.
I mean, you know,
it is, yes, it is.
into this presentation, and all of a sudden it seems to go somewhere
and I
different than what we used to, you know, then we can always just leave.
Right.
It doesn't, you know, but I'm saying that we should be here when they start this presentation. And after they present the senior center, there's nothing to stop us from going. I don't
Right.
care about the new firehouse and everything
Yeah,
else,
right.
okay? So, yeah, but I mean, we should be a lot there as long as they're talking about the senior center.
Right.
So they can look at all our lovely faces and say,
Exactly.
there they are.
And what I can say is it's a much more powerful message if you present versus when I present stuff. I mean, it's not, they very much listen to that. I'm not saying that they don't, but it's definitely a different message. You are the people doing that, your staff, you guys are the people who advise to the council about all senior issues, not just the senior center, all senior issues. That's why you're talking about housing and you're talking about.
I'm finally glad this is coming about. It took a long time to get here. Many arguments.
Lots of
I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
people. I think Betty Jean is somewhere up there, watching down and smiling here. It's just fine.
You just don't know.
No,
You won't-
she
you won't
always,
get it.
right. And she did a lot of work.
Now, one of the comments they made about the current town hall was that as things change, the department grew, and you had a department with people here and there and there. If you combine the senior center with another building, what's the risk of having center space infringed on by other departments?
So what you do is you talk very much about who controls the building, and that's really bringing back. So that's what had to happen last year as well. We were afraid of Parks and Recreation control the building. And then their needs, because they have to generate funds and we do, are going to take over. And so the commission
Commission on Aging very helpfully made the point that it's a human service building, and that human services involved in scheduling and the priority uses as a senior center. So it's a senior center with community use, that's what you said.
What's the same, is moved by home control to the senior center if it's in the town hall?
Now, it's who controls that portion of the building. That, you know,
If we were to share space with the community center, right, we would have to
or the
determine
town hall. Yeah.
serious
Absolutely.
boundary drawing around, right, how priorities and space gets used. So that would have to be a real conversation from the get-go.
So, and what I would say is that the community center is really a fitness center. It is not what most people would call a full community center. They are in as much need of community space. So it's not like they're just like here, they can do some programs here. It's not like that would. It's about the priority use of space. That's what I would say. So, and that's all about building use policy.
Right now, we have outside groups come in and use the building.
Right.
We don't allow that Monday to Friday from 8 to 4, because that's senior program. So that's an easy way for us to handle that. Otherwise, we love having people come in. It's an absolute win-win and benefit for folks to use the space and value it. But we need to prioritize, so it would be the same.
Right. Right. And how we had done it was all of the priorities uses.
You're right.
So that youth services needs the building sometimes at a different time. The senior center has priority over other groups as well. And that happens now. If youth services unpass, that's a priority use because it's a youth service building. You know, but you know, of course, the town manager bumps everybody. It's the town manager, but yeah, the town in general has such incredible need for space and fun. Some of you know, I did, you know, we have things in pouring rain, and luckily we have parts in that building, but you know, we got to do the parts. Town has a ridiculously fast. That's what it is. So, you know, part of my reason for my office is over, because that was not going to us to inside at all. And there was such a small space, you know, offices over there. So that was part of the decision as well, just made better sense. But they do service everywhere else. The bus lines, you know, and that's going to be the same issue by the way, buildings located in the crowds. It's in the bus lines. And actually, human services, social services, we reduce the cost to get here. So that's.
Okay, any other questions for Pat or Sarah? Well, you're up, there's WRPD,
All right, there's nothing here.
okay,
All I care about is you. It's
housing representative? Well,
yeah, okay, well, they put in a little patio. Really big patio, exactly. Recreation hall, back of our clubhouse. We just finished it. I don't know what it's going to be used for, but it's a patio. Yeah, blocks. Also across the street from there was there used to be a home there. And we decided to put the office there. That's very good deal. That's what people come. The first thing they look at is the club walls. And they see the swimming pool. And just assume that the patio is too hard. You know, I guess we could use it for proposals or dances. All the things they could have spent money on. They're continuing to put in, you know, we're getting more millions every day. We just want to build energy. So, well,
There's
Oh, don't worry, we are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Regina?
I am speaking to someone from, Glenridge, and I'm hoping he will join us.
Okay,
Great, okay. Okay, we have, let me fix that for a moment. You can hear me. We have the generators put in to the cottages finally. So the power goes out with the replugging your refrigerator, which is foremost thing they really need to do. So that's been done. I know I heard through the grapevine that they're way down the road, trying to do that for the main building as well. But that's more expensive, so Susan, our administrator, is looking into that. So, again, that's way down the road, but hopefully that will happen at some point. Just a few things, we have a meeting, let's see, just recently. The end of, Silo Road, that corner right there, somebody had mentioned that it needs to be redone a little bit because we've had such lack of rain. So they're redoing, fall stuff, make it look more presentable when you drive up. So I know Mario, our maintenance person outside, has been doing that as I was walking down here this morning. So make it look a little bit better. We have a new librarian, which is really exciting. Vicky, she just did a couple weeks ago. It was great because I went to a presentation on Captain Hepburn, her life story, her movies, everything. So it was really, really good. So she's gonna be coming to Jennifer Hill at least once a month. So we, told her, different things, that we're interested in for her to present to us. And that's really great. We also encourage her to bring, if she brings books, put them up in the library in a large break, which is really a good thing to do.
She's also our new librarian here.
Oh, so she was here too?
Yeah, now she's the adult service librarian. She took
Oh,
Becky's
wonderful.
position.
Oh, great, okay.
So she'll be over your.
All right. Oh, nice, okay, great. Also, we just had, this past Thursday, I think it was, the fire chief, Adam, from the town of Mansfield, coming to talk to us about, fire safety. He couldn't stay as long as we wanted because he had to go down to Southeast School. So he was here for what to talk to us about what to do in case of fire with the, alarm goes off. We want to do a more extensive meeting with him down the road and others, because we've got a lot of new folks, and some people don't know where to go, what to do, keep your door closed, open window, keep your air vent on. Some people are still opening up their doors, cause they want to go out throughout the building, and you're kind of scattered here and there, not knowing where to go, to be safe. So that's been a, an ongoing issue. We have somebody coming this Thursday, from UConn to talk about nutrition, cooking on a budget, which, it's a good thing. October 21st is a sign up sheet, in the office, the flu shot, pneumonia shot, COVID shot, shingles, there's 5 of them. So there, anybody wants to sign up for those, which I have. You talk about the rental rebate, that's been going on. We have September 29th, somebody coming to, outside the back, hoping the weather's good, with owls. So that's really cool. Yeah, so I want to do that too. And then they talk about if you want to vote, do an absentee ballot. So they've been putting information out for that. I talked to Susan and I, it's been an ongoing conversation with transportation with WRTD. You asked me last time about the monitor. It's sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. So I know Susan was in there one day trying to get the route, for this area. She finally got it, but again, the monitor is on, off, on, off. We don't know why it doesn't span all the time during the day, so people can go in and take a look at it.
I don't know, the only report I got was there wasn't any problem.
So-
That's the report I got.
You know, what keeps
For
happening
the
is he keeps
RTD.
emailing me about the Juniper Hill monitor, and I keep saying, "I don't work there, this is not our building.
I know,
We
I
don't
know.
have a monitor, we need to contact the administrator, and the next time it happens, he emails me. So,
So who's down from the RTD?
Bill,
that's,
all right, we got
it's not at
we
the
got-
senior center.
we
It's
got
at
a
Juniper
meeting.
Hill.
we got a meeting next Friday. We come this Friday.
When I walked out this morning, they just show a bunch of pictures.
I'll get Phyllis on it. I'll see if I can find out exactly what's.
It's been a little bit, it's been some weeks since the last time it's been again, but it seems like he tends.
I know, because I got you.
Things in his head, maybe he thinks we're connected soon.
I got the message that you sent. Yes, yeah.
Okay, great.
I thought it was all big. I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him.
How about Susan?
Yeah. Susan was on vacation, she'll be back tomorrow. It was off on last week.
It'd be great to have that for you guys to write down and
Yeah.
check.
Sure. Going along that line, Heather, one of our social workers, been trying to get a hold of Linda, the executive director, so they can come to Timber Hill and talk about dollar ride and the bus line. They've been playing phone tag all summer. I was hoping by now that meeting would have been set up. Still they're trying to connect. I know I called one day because I had to get a ride for my stuff, and Linda happened to pick up. So I told her that Heather's trying to get over her. So somebody come and talk to us. Again, we have a lot of new folks, and I encourage you people, whenever I see somebody, everybody's talking, getting to a doctor's appointment, getting to the store. I said, how about it? I mean, you guys got the van down here for medical appointments. And I've been encouraging that. So I'm hoping before winter sets in, we can finally have this meeting. So let's see what happens. Okay, I'm good, thank you. You're welcome.
What's the emphasis of, what's the percentage of seniors in rights way? I get the distinct impression that it's been going down. Does it justify a representative? We haven't been able to get one.
I know it's well over 50% are the same. I'm going to say
Well over
well over 50% is younger disabled or younger accepted.
okay. That's in-
So, and somebody guessed it was 2/3. I don't think it's quite that high, but it's well over 50%.
We actively reached out to the folks that I know there. Just all of them for like meeting. I don't have any other ideas of anybody else over there.
I mean, we can just drop it for now and just change it and then we can always do it back on. That way we can-
I think people, well, I reached out to two people who are in their 60s, and they're a little bit younger than I am. And I think they think that it's a town thing. They don't feel as integrated, especially with, the population that's down there. And so it's hard for them to
Right.
think about.
Right.
Right,
It's hard to represent if we don't feel integrated.
right.
And that tends to happen in a lot of housing places now more so than it used to be. It is harder to even get people together to do social things or,
Yeah, within the community,
Yeah,
yeah.
within the community, it's just what I'm understanding that's happening all over us.
Yeah.
So and it's even harder for such a mixed community.
Okay. We're down to old business. We've already had item B, trips to senior centers discussed. You were a little waffly, and I understand you said, in several weeks to several months, can you nail it down just a little better?
It's a challenge because a lot of it will. So, the priority positions, the two priority positions right now are the service worker. So, in the departments, those are the ones I'm pushing for first, the broadest reasons that have, pretty large impact on our daily programming and how other people have to shift into their goals. And, the good thing is that in service positions is we can put them at the same time as those positions, two service positions. So I'm pushing, not sure what this very recent resignations, two very recent resignations for human resources will mean for that. I'm hoping to push those of them that. Right, so, for this position, it will go out, it's not a union position, so it doesn't have to go out internal. It'll go out for 2 weeks, and then we'll set up interviews, and I believe it'll be probably Sarah and I. So, and because of that, that won't be more good. So that one should, the union positions are a little more involved. The part-time position as well. They give us authorization to recruit for part-time driver and a part-time food service assistant. That can go out. We can actually leave that out open to the full bill again on the union position and the per diem positions. So use those. There's just not as many people out looking for that level of job, particularly no benefits. So you gotta find someone who loves to drive and just a day that just wants to do it, for example. And someone who's just very interested in the job at the center, the service assistant. So we've got been advertised for. I was driving Tom, the service. And the food service assistant has been advertised. So we were hoping that was going to happen in the spring, but it did not. So, but those are a little easier for us to, it will just be, again, list of all the things that we prioritizing that because the positions make such an impact department wide. That's that. And on top of that, though, we have to later this stuff. Right now I'm very into the holiday programs. That's the it's like fall. So
So realistically, are we talking next spring? I'm thinking by the time we get those positions, we'll be dealing with snow.
On board quickly, and they've got good experience in that. I think, you know what I mean? There'll be some onboarding, but I don't know.
I would guess not before the end of this year, honestly. Just because, so say we do push this along,
Right.
in my experience here, recruitments have lasted between 2 and 3 months for
It can.
the start until somebody is up and running.
Actually,
When that person comes here, the only person here now to train that person is me. So that's at least a month of time working side by side to really make sure that person can take on the full management operation. If that happens during the month of November, that's going to be problematic for us to take on everything.
I'm hopeful it's gonna happen soon. But we can't make any promises. We wouldn't make any appointments until we knew, that and make sure both of our buses are up and running. So,
Am I right? I get the impression there's a lot of moving pieces to schedule one of the senior center tours.
yes.
Doing that during December, January, February seems like it's pretty
Right.
high risk.
Well, it can be with weather.
In their holiday programs too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't mind driving. We could maybe get one more in. I don't know.
Someone
I
else
don't
on
mind
the
driving.
way.
Yeah. I don't mind driving. I
And
can
I'll
put 4 people in my car.
you guys totally go with Dave. I
Yeah,
can reach out
let's,
to them. We could look at, we're finalizing October now, so I can look at the trips in October. Kind of come up with some dates that might work if you would like to. I guess what is problematic is yes, it's a ton of back and forth trying to set this up.
So you essentially probably wouldn't want to
Can you
do
take
that
on
when
any
there's a
pieces of
high
that?
risk it would be canceled.
Would you guys take on pieces of that, identify the center, email the director, get some dates, email each other, check the dates with Dave. If you want to take on some of those pieces, that would be super helpful. But you as a commissioner, you can absolutely approach a director at another center and say, hey, we're going there, we're talking about a building project, we'd love to come visit.
And there are some ones that are fairly well,
I help make it move faster.
you know, like going to Vernon would be,
Yeah.
you know, or Wyndham or South Windsor, or last year, those are all pretty close by.
My question is though, isn't that putting the horse before the cart? Because we don't even know what building or what. Right now, we'll have a better idea of what's available.
Right, so what I would say is, the more you see and are educated and talk to people about the things that work well and the things that didn't work well, the better able you would want to be as the project moves forward to give your input. You know, that's what I would say. It never hurts to see facilities. I mean, I've seen a lot of facilities. I still, if I go somewhere, I go and see the senior center. Because I just like to see, it's a great way to pick up ideas, but it's also a way to keep yourself abreast of what's changed. Because I can tell you, I've seen Wallingford 3 different times at different points, and it's a different center every time I go. You know, from when they first opened their doors, you know, till when a couple of years ago. Very helpful. Plainville is another one. You know, I first saw Plainville when I first started in the fields. I went, you know, before COVID, about a year before COVID. You know, you learn every time you go how they've adapted and some of the things that they've found, things that didn't, you know, worked in the beginning that didn't work on, which is important to do. But I think that anybody can do it, and actually, even if it's just a couple, you can take pictures and bring it back and share it with the group. You know, it's pretty easy to share pictures and information. So it's not really, it's never too early. I guess that's what I'm saying, to educate yourself.
What I think is more important than us going somewhere is getting the town council to come here and see, because we can talk till we're blue in the face. And when spring comes and we start going on trips and inviting them to go with us, they've got nothing to compare it with. They're gonna see senior centers, which are probably all better than ours. And they're not gonna know that they're looking at the good stuff. They need to have a comparison.
And I will say, one of the challenges with looking at this building is, it doesn't look bad. I mean, compared to some of the ones. The problems, we've done as much as we can with this building, and it doesn't look that bad. It's investing, it doesn't work, and investing more money. It's the actual structure of the building that's problematic. So the spaces aren't bad that we have to work with. So someone can walk in and say, why are you complaining about this big room? This is more than other people in the town have. So then
Because the
say,
walls falling down, that's why.
They should not come in and just do a walkthrough. They need to be on a guided tour.
and I think that's
So
a good
somebody
idea.
who can say, this room needs blah, 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 because right now we can do this, we can do that, we can't do this and this and this and this in every single room or office. They need to know what's wrong with this space. Yes, it looks nice, it looks usable, but they need to know what's below the surface.
Right, and it is usable, it's just not going to take us where we need to go, and it's not gonna last forever, and how much money we put in this place, because there's some major things.
It's
Doors and
unreachable.
windows need to be replaced. The whole exterior needs to be.
Heating system needs to be,
The
replaced. The air conditioning
HVAC
system needs to be replaced. We're talking big dollars.
Right.
And all of those things need to be stressed while they're here,
Well,
talking to people who have to work with this space and find it unworkable.
They already know that.
They do know that, though, I mean, I can say.
Facility studies that went in, they already know what's wrong with this building. Now they just have to decide what they're gonna do about it.
Mhm.
They're already firmly, they know exactly what's wrong with
Yeah,
this
they
building.
do know this building has to be.
We've been talking about it for years, what's wrong with this building.
I don't think that's the argument, more is how to take, how to. I think we won the argument in the past about it needing to be replaced,
Yes.
so I agree with
Yes.
you on that. But anyway,
Okay. Devin, can you hear?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, at the end of the last meeting, we approved the written report that we wanted to get to the town council. When I looked up to try and print that out for myself, I couldn't find it on my computers.
You mean the one that I had edited and sent out to everybody?
Okay, I missed the email. It's probably on my computer somewhere. Could you send me another copy of that?
Yes, you want the letter, correct, John?
Say it again?
You want the letter? Is that what you're asking for?
The one that originally started out to the town, Mansfield Town, Mansfield Commission. Yeah, to the Mansfield Town Council. And then there was a paragraph about the US Census.
Yes, yes, I know what you're speaking about. I will absolutely email it to you. I have a
Yep.
copy,
Okay. Good.
not a problem.
the town manager and all this kind of stuff. Sort of in the past.
Okay, that's a statement.
Well, I'm not saying that it's a statement.
I'm asking if it did go up. I don't know.
I thought John sent.
I
it
thought you were
to
gonna
town
send it
manager.
out to all the councilmen and all the. And the town manager and,
I couldn't find the record of that.
if I had it, I would have sent, if I had it, I would have sent it
So
out.
if that's not, that actually could go out actually today, right? Before.
That should go to every one of
Should
the
go to every
councilmen,
one of
yeah,
them.
don't blindside them. Don't blindside them.
I thought it actually.
I did too.
I did. So. If it can, Devin, can you send that to me? And I'll send it over to the town manager's office and ask Tasha to send it out.
Yes, that's Pat, correct? Just making sure I can't see you.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm on the blind corner.
That's okay. Pat, yes, I'll send it to you as well.
You-
And I'll CC you. that I sent.
Okay, great. So since the last time you've seen the PowerPoint, I made just a few changes. I don't think it's urgent that it be officially approved by the committee here. So yes, sir, if you would love to see that, I'll go over real quickly. What that planned, and we won't give a report per se.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep, that's good. Okay, so this is our placeholder that while things are organizing, that we have that up. I would take the first slide, well, from there, I would get up and go ahead.
What am I doing here? Do this. Oh, hold on.
John,
What's
just
he
to
say?
make it this time, the three of us are going to be sitting in chairs. in front of you. You have to get up.
Okay, yeah,
All right, you will have the mic in front of you.
right, okay.
There we go.
And then up here, I was just going to read the middle one. To justify why we're giving this report. Been asked to. And then, just a little bit that the projection of percentage of seniors has gone from 14% to an estimated 21% in 2030.
That's good.
And then the next slide. And then bring out the three areas that we've chosen to emphasize. Next. Aging in community, transport for seniors, and the Mansfield Senior Center. And then introduce Martina. And then you would take over at this point. And then,
I have a question.
sure,
Should we put it, say anything personal? during that time, or, you know, or just read what's on there and then say something personal? Or,
I would say you're the presenter for that section, however you feel comfortable. Generally, if you just read it, it's less interesting than if you.
right. I wanted to talk, maybe I was thinking about talking about my experience as a student this time.
Anybody can sit there and read it. They want, you know.
And I find that always adds to data. You know, when you can give a personal experience that backs up what you're saying, that's a positive.
Okay, and then we can kind of zip through the next until we get to the last one of aging in community. As you've seen these before,
Then Ridge, Juniper. Wow, good job.
this one's. This one, I changed it. We had a specific percentage and tried to explain the 30% of median income, and it turns out it really wasn't quite correct. So I left Martina with this wording, so it's more generalized. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then go ahead and next slide and here.
Oops, sorry. There you go.
Yeah, that I would take the microphone for this section. Point out that Will is on the commission and on the advisory board and has been very
I would,
helpful there.
John, I would change that to the board of directors.
It's board of directors.
Yes, it's the board of directors of WRTG. Make it sound like that. It makes it sound like more important. Like that.
Now, how about if I did that verbally rather than trying to get a new presentation submitted to everybody involved?
That's fine.
Okay,
That's fine. No, you can do it verbally.
okay,
Absolutely.
we'll do that. Okay, and then next one, Will would take this. And that, we have whatever he wanted to. And then I would take the mic here. Just to emphasize again that it's inadequate, hard to maintain, and prohibitively expensive to renovate. And then add this section as an emphasis that the commission, town citizen, senior center staff should have early and continuous input in the design process. Because you can look at those and envision what it's going to be like, but it could be great or it could be horrible. Depending. The execution, the detail is, yeah, the devil is in the detail and execution. Okay, and then thank the town council and offer for them to come here and to discuss any areas concerned further. That'll help shorten their meeting some if we ever come. How should we handle it from there? Should we let them show some interest before we try and set up a time?
So we still never sent an official invitation to schedule them to get here.
That's it right there.
We've done nothing about it all this time until that.
Well, we've had the members come in.
Oh, we've had it. We've been ready and more than one.
But earlier this season, we talked about sending a group and individual meetings to every member of the council to get here to go on a guided tour through this senior center. And that,
Right, that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
we have not done that.
John, I think what I would do is, say, if any members of the council have any questions. I would open it up for questions from them. Okay. Okay. Let's give it out.
we don't have any public to make comments?
You might, we don't
We
know.
don't read it. I don't know if Rita wants to say anything.
On site, but we're still on the slide presentation. So the town will open it up for questions on after the slide presentation. Because
No,
I know,
no, the town will open it up. No, John can ask them if they have questions of us.
what if someone from the town, senior from the town wants to speak? Who?
No, they have to do that. as
Public
public
comment.
comment. They can't talk to our. Okay.
People can do that either in person or virtually, but it has to be submitted ahead of time if it's virtual. So all that stuff will be posted with the meeting.
Or writing.
I totally sign
They can hear. Come in and speak first.
Yeah. First,
First.
before we do this.
All right,
Okay, they can't come in while we're pregnant, they come after, they have to do it
before.
at personal comments, it's the very first thing on the agenda. And we get a public meeting.
Okay, Lita, did you have any comments for the commission?
She's like, okay. All right,
No, thank you. I just got myself unmuted.
okay.
Not sure how it works. Okay. No, thank you. It was enjoyable. I had problems with the volume. Somehow, the people on the right, on my right-hand side weren't coming out too clearly. So it was not very understandable what you're talking about.
Okay,
But otherwise,
no,
but
that's
otherwise-
helpful. Thank you.
okay, that's it. Thank you.
I would hope that in whatever new senior center gets designed, there's a room that's set up with Zoom in mind.
They all will be.
They all will be.
Every one of them will be.
We can do hybrid, virtual, and all kinds of stuff. That'll be in every room.
Was there a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion.
I'll second it. There's a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was supposed to be muted and also off the video. Did you see me have breakfast in front of you?
No, we can only see your name.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Good job, Lita.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I do a real quick, just the roll call, because I cannot see everybody.
Heads up, folks, Seven would like to do the roll call so she can see.
I've
who's
got
here.
John, I've got Martina, I've got Will, myself, Sarah's there, Pat's there. I have Mary. Who else am I missing? I have
Laura Austin was here in person
Phil.
and David was via Zoom.
That's right. Okay. And Lita, what is Lita's last name?
Billiqur, Billoqur.
Billoqur. Okay.
Hi, buddy.
Sorry, in the back. I can't even tell you what I've been trying to do to keep him occupied while I'm.
Oh, David.
Okay, I'm on